So it's pretty early in the morning. I could not for the life of me sleep last night. I don't know why. So I ended up getting up before it was daylight and coming inside to start my schoolwork because I'm still playing some catch up from everything that's happened over the last 6 weeks. And throughout this entire process, I decide, hey, it's only me up and my oldest son's up playing on his game. Right now it's Saturday, so that's allowed. There's no schoolwork, nothing to be done here. And it's been really rainy all night, so I wanted to go ahead and check on the babies because I've been gone for a few days. My mom and the other kids have been here and they've been kind of holding everything down and feeding the babies. So I went outside and when I was out there, the first thing I noticed is a bunch of house cats standing there surrounding my birds, and one of them just standing in front of the baby staring at them. And now the babies are pretty close to being fully feathered out now. They're several weeks old. I honestly can't for the life of me remember when I got them. I'm going to have to go back and look through my text messages and see exactly how old they are. But they have almost all of their feathers, but they're so small. So they definitely need some more growing out before they go into the big adult pen. And thank God they're not in there because I've been losing some meat birds. And it could be for a number of reasons. They grow really fast, so they do get some health issues because right now we're primarily raising the Cornish cross. We did have some Red Rangers. We've already processed a couple of those, and we have the hens. We're just going to use them as a dual purpose bird until they're older. So they've been really good. They're pretty good hens, whereas the roosters of that breed were psychos. So we went ahead and got rid of the roosters and processed them because they're just too aggressive for the rest of our flock and a bit of bullies. Now, I've been losing some of my Cornish cross. So at first I thought maybe it's because some health issues, because it is normal to lose a couple sometimes. We don't always. During the summer is usually when we have our biggest amount of loss just because of the heat and how awful it is. You can never seem to keep them cool enough. But also during the cooler months, they really struggle to maintain their temperature. So I figured that was the issue. They weren't maintaining their temperature. At first, when we lost one or two, I thought it was likely because of health issues because they had grown so fast. And I got these at almost a ready to process age. But lately they've been really stressed out. They have not been acting themselves. They've actually been running straight towards me like almost like a help me thing. I hear them crying in the middle of the night when I am home, but when I go out there, I don't see anything. But I have lost a couple of birds, and I thought maybe it's from them piling up on each other because they sleep so close together. Maybe it's because I've been feeding too many fresh vegetables like pumpkins. And not enough protein feed, which I'm still feeding them both, and they have a feeder full of feed outside, so that didn't really make sense why they were acting so skittish and why some of them started losing weight and afraid to come out of the pen area until today when I realized that there are multiple house cats that are out there messing with the birds. And I went outside. I actually had 4 dead birds, and I was really frustrated. So I say house cats. So these are domestic cats, but they are primarily outside. So, when somebody feeds wild cats, they all tend to just kind of get together. And that is definitely an issue. Now, we get our cats fixed because we don't want to deal with that cat population. But as you know, with other people, if they're feeding wild cats, those cats aren't fixed and being released back into the wild. The cat population is just exploding. So right now, I think that our biggest need is probably going to be some better infrastructure for our birds, maybe closing them up for a while. So I'm going to spend early morning the next couple of days working hard on my schoolwork and late at night. But during the day, I'm going to try and process as many of those meat birds as I can and just get them just out of the way. I'm worried because some of them have started to lose a little weight due to the stress, and I'm also worried about the stress that they're under. I'm not sure how that's going to affect the meat. Just such a mess. The issue with house cats, I think, is that it's almost like if you have a rat issue, it's easier to take care of a rat problem, I would say, because house cats, domestic cats, shall I say, are seen as a pet as much as they are a nuisance, and it makes it really difficult sometimes to figure out exactly how to handle that, especially since a lot of times when they're trapped, they get put down, and that creates a whole nother problem, especially if you're in the city. And I understand that people really do love domestic breeds of cats. So, you know, with a dog issue, it's a little bit easier to handle because usually you put up a good fence, and unless they're digging under, which there are ways to prevent that, you can keep them out. But so earlier when I was filming, my phone died in the middle of everything, so I'm gonna have to edit it all together. But I came out here to check on my chickens because I came home earlier and there were feathers everywhere where the babies are, and I'm gonna show you all of that. So it's kind of dark in here. It's not out here, the light's on, but in here it's a little dark. I need to move this pumpkin out actually because one of my siblings put it in here, but these babies are in here. So these are my Lankins. There's 6 of them total. I don't actually know what's under. Oh, gross. I thought I was gonna just kick the pumpkin over, but no, the pumpkin's completely rotted through. You can't really see it that well. Actually, let me turn on. Yeah, there we go. So I had the flash off, I guess. This pumpkin's completely rotted through. I don't even know if I can pick it up. I'll actually probably go get a shovel, yeah, and get that out. So this is kind of the roost area for where the chickens, we used to previously have a triple set of rabbit cages up here for all the rabbits. And you can see where the chickens have been sitting at night. But the Lankins like to get up here and roost. Now, some changes are going to be made in here because I'm now on serious high alert about predators because I have a very real issue with them killing the birds. And then all of this is open at the bottom now because the mesh wire we pulled off. But also during the summer we left this kind of like this because it was so darn hot in here. And now we're talking about sealing this up completely, putting an actual door or closing it in. I'm worried about any place that has 2x3 wire or like this where it can actually move because we don't know exactly what's killing the animals, and I'm very concerned that it can squeeze through that. I was talking to my father earlier, and he was telling me with animals, a lot of times, especially with raccoons and things of that nature, they can squeeze their head through, they can squeeze their body through. So I'm really concerned with this. And we've trapped raccoons in the past. I trapped a big family of raccoons that were harassing our animals in our house years ago. They would literally, I opened the door and one of them tried to walk straight into the house, and that really freaked me out. So we got rid of that issue. But now we have a whole new issue with birds disappearing and dying. So I'm out here trying to figure out what to do. I really don't want to lock them all in here with these spaces open because I'm concerned that something will happen, but I also don't want to leave them all out in the open because we had to take the tarp off today because it was literally bowing where the chickens are. Now, I'm going to show you what has happened recently just while I was gone for part of the day and came back. And actually, look, you see that cat right there running off? That cat, you can barely see it, is a huge part of the problem. I think you may be able to see its eyes, so it's a bit blurry because of it being far off, my camera quality not being so great. So yeah, that big orange cat is a huge issue out here with my animals because that is what I think was taking some of our chicks. But also the big chickens, we've lost more meat chickens, and it happened during the day, which is really strange. So I just looked over when I was talking to you, and right here sitting by this coop was that big old cat. And it is a domestic cat, so this is what I was talking about earlier. Now, it's not the first or the last cat that I've seen out here, but I don't think that it's solely the issue. I think there's other stuff going on, but look at this. all these feathers, and there were a lot more feathers earlier, by the way. These are the feathers from our different chicks. There's lavender Orpington feathers, there's some of the Brahma feathers, and you can actually see some blood in here. Blood here. At first I thought it was just shaving color, but it's not. There's actual blood markings. It kind of trails off over here, but since they're chicks, it doesn't show a lot. So what we did earlier is we came out here and we added more predator wire all the way around, because previously we found out that you could push this plastic and it kind of went in. So we added more predator wire all the way around, and so it's several inches, probably like a foot over in some areas, all the way down. Now it does have this little space, but the sharp wires there. My husband came and he put predator wire at the very bottom like this, because what we noticed is that right here under this gate there was a gap, and what the animals were likely doing, you can see more of our baby bird feathers, which is really sad and frustrating, is that, so what they were likely doing is pushing in right here where there wasn't predator wire into this plastic and pushing their way in and grabbing the birds out and squeezing back out, which is really sad. And we didn't realize it was happening. I noticed birds were missing when I came back. I assume a couple died. We had some issues with chicks dying for really what seemed like no reason early on, and I just thought it was something to do with temperature. So here's some more feathers. They're actually quite a bit, and I actually even found feathers over here. I'll show that too if I can find them with it being a little darker. But so you can see the babies are totally freaked out. Out of 14 babies, we have 5 left, so it's really stressful. 4 I know for a fact died when they were pretty young. At first I thought, like I said, it was temperature related. Now I'm thinking something different. But when I was at the camper, my mom and them were taking care of the chicks. Now usually my little sister, my 10-year-old sister, she helps with them, but she doesn't, I mean, everyone else isn't used to dealing with them. So they were concerned because one chick had disappeared, but we didn't know why. We thought maybe the kids let it out when they were watering it, didn't shut the gate, and it hopped out, and they didn't notice because they're not used to watering it and know how many are supposed to be in there. But then I came home today. There were definitely 6 in here this morning, and I came home from just being gone for about an hour or so. I went to the grocery store, and when I came back, there were all these feathers everywhere and blood splatter. And so, yeah, something definitely got our chicks. And then we've lost more meat birds, which is insane, except for this time, there's a huge clump of feathers off the back end of them and some claw marks, and we're definitely thinking that the cats were in there too, because we've seen not just that one cat, but multiple cats outside. It's really frustrating. So, but also it can also be raccoons. We do have different things. I've seen armadillo in the yard, possums. So I've never had an armadillo attack any of our animals, worse than getting on the porch and eating animal feed or dumping over plants. But I've had raccoons, I've seen them attack animals, and even possum. People will tell you that possums will not hurt your animals. I've come out and witnessed, when I was a teenager, a possum ripping a chicken apart. It is brutal. They do it, guys. Yes, they eat insects and everything else. They are omnivores. So, you know, if I wouldn't have seen it, I may have not believed it, may have believed everything I saw online about them not doing that. If I didn't know what diseases these different animals carried, I would believe that. But, I mean, come on. A little research can go a long way. I know that sounds kind of rude, but if you don't know, you really don't know. And if you haven't seen animals behave in this manner, you're going to be surprised and question it when people who raise animals tell you, yes, they do, I've seen it with my own eyes. So hopefully it never comes down to me actually being able to film it, because I don't want my birds to get hurt, but it does happen. And so sad, because look how feathered out these guys are. So they're absolutely traumatized and hiding in the back, because of course they don't want anything to happen to them. And look, I need to change out their water again. Believe it or not, I just changed this out. You can see how full it is. So when you tip that over, it's actually mostly full. It just looks lower when you flip it. So we're down to 5 birds, and it really stinks. But I think the predator wire is a lot better. The only place it could possibly fit into is in here where the sharp wire is. I'm not sure exactly how to cover that, so I'll worry about that tomorrow. But I think we're good for tonight, especially since I saw the cat sitting out here again, and it was here earlier, right before when the birds disappeared. So I really do think that that's at least part of the reason that all this is happening. Now I'm going to come over here because there are also some feathers. Look, like there's a feather. I saw some more over here somewhere. I'm not really doing a good job at finding them because it's dark, but earlier I came out and there were quite a bit of feathers. So here's some more. These are from my meat birds. That's really frustrating. And so meat birds, the Cornish cross, are not very good at protecting themselves from predators. They are not like regular chickens that will fight off predators. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause this video and walk around this whole setup right here and show you some of the meat birds. I'm gonna have to clean them up and get rid of it. I have to get a bag and clean that up because, for one, as disgusting as it sounds, you don't want other chickens picking at the meat, the dead ones, and eating them. They absolutely do that. Chickens are not vegetarians. They eat meat. They will eat snakes, they'll eat frogs, insects, worms, grubs, pretty much anything. And then they also will pick at each other. They will even they eat vegetables, they eat all sorts of stuff. So I'm gonna pause this and I'm gonna walk around and I'm gonna show for the meat birds that died and some of the injuries that they suffered because of the animals. Now, mind you, we're not talking about wild animals. From the looks of it, we are definitely talking about domesticated animals. Now, there could be other animals coming in at night. I talked to my dad and he said we should set up a game cam over here so we can actually see what's going on. And I'm gonna do that too, but seeing the cat out here prowling again after what happened today and catching him out earlier, I'm pretty confident that is definitely part of the issue. So I'm gonna walk around. Guys, this is a good time if you're really squeamish or don't like seeing dead animals. I would just stop the video and go ahead and walk away. And actually, I was going to pause it, but I'm just gonna go ahead and walk around because I don't want to say that I'm going to show something and then pause the video, walk around, and it immediately shows it, and whoever's watching did not have time to pause the video, fast forward, or turn it off. Especially because I know for me, I watch this with my kids and my siblings, and some things are a little rougher for them to see, right, than others. So I definitely don't want to traumatize anybody's kids or really any person who doesn't want to see things like that. Just looking through the window of the cabin, checking on my daughter. My husband and son are in there too, but they're not feeling very well at all. I'm not sure what's up with that. So they're kind of snuggled up in bed right now. Now, look at this. The pumpkins everywhere. So I know that that's probably going to freak people out. I need to get these birds out because the meat birds are kind of piling up. And I need to move the meat birds inside because they don't want to. But here's the first meat chicken. You can see a lot of feathers are missing. It's way different than usual. It definitely has a lot of bruising and injury. These are actually puncture wounds, which you may not be able to see very well. So it's pretty awful and disgusting altogether. Alright guys, so that's the issue with meat chickens, is they just kind of pile on top of things without really thinking. So here's another one. It is extremely, extremely bruised. It looks awful. Now mind you, these were alive when we left, okay? See, here's some more puncture wounds. That's quite a few of these. This one was grabbed by the throat. And then while I'm out here explaining everything, of course the other chickens have come and piled on top of them instead of going into the coop. They're a little freaked out right now because everything that's happening, on top of everything that's happening, right in here where the tarp was, I'm about to show you. So everything's a mess here, but right in here where there was a tarp that went all the way over here that we put up during the heavy rain, because let's be honest, meat birds are not always bright and they don't know to go inside like they should. And so we put that up to keep water from dumping in on them and give them a place when we had more meat birds. But this whole fence right here, you can see how loose it is now. It was actually bowing from the weight of the water. We got so much water in such a short period of time. So that was a lot of fun. You can see this is kind of the run. It's a mess. It even, with all the water, it even pulled down this trellis that's been up there for like 2 years. So that needs to be adjusted. It may be less than 2 years actually. We replaced it a couple times, but yeah. It pulled down this whole trellis. This trellis is designed to grow cucumbers or anything like that on top of it. So that's what's going on there. And then this is just a mess. They've been, you know, they got trampled in the mud, so you can see a lot. I mean, it's just really bad and really awful. Now, meat birds don't particularly look pretty to begin with. Some of them are just scared to death. It's just really sad and really gross to deal with. I know it's hard for some people to watch, but I kind of want to be transparent about this because unfortunately, whether you're in the city like we are and have animal control and everything else, or you're in the country, you have to deal with these things. It really does happen still. And people pretend that it doesn't, and it does. And whether you want to believe it or not, when you have a loss of life on your homestead and it doesn't go to providing for the rest of you, it really is frustrating, and it's hard, right? Because we're already doing all this work. Now I have to worry about our animals getting hurt. So they're terrified right now and kind of cuddling in together. What I'm going to do is kind of shoo all of these birds into there so that they're inside of the coop. This is their run during the day. So I'm okay with them being out here during the day if they have someone to watch over them. We're looking at getting geese again. My mom and I are, because I think geese will run straight after those cats. My Ebdens did. We never had a problem like this as long as we had Ebdens, not with hawks, not with anything, not cats, nothing. So I definitely think that geese would be a good option right now. Tomorrow we're actually going to pick up a livestock guardian puppy, which is something that we planned on for a few weeks now. And we got this precious baby from the gentleman that we got our lavender Orpington and Brahma chicks from. So now that we have the brooder kind of bulletproofed, we'll try that out for a little bit. And if we can, we'll also get some more chicks from him. But I think Mom and I are talking about, we're just going to completely redo this. We're going to go ahead and put a roof up here and completely close this in. Bad news for my brothers because they're over 6 foot tall. Fine with me because I'm not even 5'5". And then all of this fencing, it's such a gorgeous fence for, you know, trellising, but I think I'm going to take it down and move it somewhere else as a garden feature, or maybe fencing near my cabin. And we're going to actually close this in for real, probably put a roof on so that they have a safe place to be in the run until we are able to get maybe a house that moves around or something to protect them. Or like I said, also we have the option, we're getting a livestock guardian, but it's going to take a minute to train that baby. And obviously you always risk losing a few birds because when they're first learning, they want to play. The reason I have this pointed this way is because I want to show you how close in proximity these two areas are, but the way they're blocked off, you have to walk around in a large area. So that's why the cats like to hide over here this way, and they just walk straight through. I mean, they're cats, let's be honest. They can climb over anything they want and squeeze through small, tiny spaces. So yeah, there's the dead birds. Here are my birds that are totally freaked out. I know some of you are like, hey girl, why are you showing this instead of getting them inside? I know, I hear you, but some things really do need to be shown. People who are starting out on homesteading or been doing it for a while need to know that they're not alone in these types of things. So, just so you know, that's why I do this. Now I'm going to kind of get all these inside. That way I know that they're nice and safe and okay during all of this. That is my goal. And I have a ton of schoolwork to do still. I worked until, I don't know, 4:30 today doing schoolwork, 4 o'clock maybe. And then I took a little break. Now I'm going to go back and do a lot more schoolwork. But these guys, I may have to carry them one by one. So they're really upset. They're not looking so great. They've been really stressed out. I've been trying to figure out why they're so stressed out. Maybe it's weather, what's going on, blah, blah, blah. But now I'm starting to see what's going on, and I feel really bad for them. If you ever want to catch meat birds, guys, I'm going to tell you right now, the best time to do it is when they're tired and laying down. So the pumpkins everywhere because we have been feeding them leftover pumpkins. I've made a couple videos about that. I have another video that I haven't even edited yet. So there's that. One thing I will say is make sure when you're feeding your Cornish cross that you are supplementing with a high protein feed, because while they can grow out, they can eat vegetables and everything else on free range. Yeah, they definitely need that protein, that high protein ration of feed to put on a significant amount of weight, just because of the types of birds they are. So there's that. This one, this is not actual blood on this one, so nobody freak out. That is the markers. This one has it too, orange. From that shows what pen they came from. Don't come back out. Because these were 4-H birds that didn't make the cut. Okay, guys. So these guys tend to huddle up with each other for warmth, kind of like these guys are doing. I do have heat lamps, so I'm actually going to put one on for them. So you're not going to have to worry about them being cold. Plus, there's not a lot of draft in the coop, so it's going to be just fine for them. I'm not worried about that at all. So now I'm going to switch this around. So it might look a little funny for a second. Let's see. I'm trying to figure out the good spot to set it. There's really not like a best spot out here. Just the way everything is set up is a little wonky. 2 of these guys are already trying to walk around and do their own thing instead of being in the coop. Because chickens are funny like that, let me tell you. Yeah, I guess this is not going to work nearly as well as I thought it would. So I thought I would try flipping the camera around, but yeah, that was not a success. Come on, guys, shoo back into the coop area. Come on, get in there. Just trying to push them along with my feet. The roosters especially are stubborn, I tell you what. Those young boys, they just do whatever they want, no matter what. They're pretty stubborn animals sometimes. Can tell you that much. So I thought I had it all figured out, but I accidentally stopped the video altogether. So I know it's probably going to be a choppy mess, but that is okay. So I have it facing over there. You can see some of my meat chickens are still over there. I'm going to block it out for just a second. And the laying hens are now hanging out over there. I'm trying to get them in the coop. So I'm setting my phone down. You're probably going to see me walk back and forth a lot so that I can pick them up 2 at a time and move them in the coop where it's warm, because they're not really wanting to listen. And I don't think it's the best option for them right now. So at this point, I'm putting what actually is the side of the coop. So if you know, I cannot bend down far enough to reach the camera, actually, but we have these panels that go at the bottom of the coop with predator wire in it. So I'm using one so the meat chickens don't hop back over into this area, so I can slowly kind of block them into the coop. There are way more of them than there are me. There are 20 something of them, and yeah, you can definitely be outsmarted by the fast-paced walking of a meat chicken. You guys have no idea. So here, these are the Cornish cross. This is a younger one. So if you see me and I'm kind of walking a little funny, it's because I'm in my dress pants and shoes. I was not prepared to come out here and do this right now. Yeah. This has just been one hell of an issue today, let me tell you. It's been hell, for lack of a better word. So we have 2 more left out after this. Then I need to go get a trash bag and get rid of the rest of the meat chickens that passed away. So I did not. Okay, stop fucking with me. That's one thing you have to be careful about when it's time to processing day. They will flap their wings and it can bruise the meat. Here's another one. They're bigger than they look. I'm just holding them a little weird because I'm trying to keep their wings down. Okay, so you can see they're kind of all in this general area. This is a small run connected to the coop. And then my goal is to use this and kind of push them into the coop for the night and put this on the outside so that they're forced in there and they'll be forced to stay warm and all of that good stuff. But this is what I was talking about that goes around, and then these are the birds. So once I get them all in, I'll just put this on the outside and then we're good to go. So here we go. Everybody's kind of in and rolling around. I need to refill this feeder in here. And this is the water system. You can see the little bucket down there. It's connected to this big old drum, which makes it really nice when you have a large amount of birds. So there are a couple in here that definitely need to grow out more. This girl right here is pretty small. There's one small girl hiding behind these. The boys always tend to grow faster. Well, like I said, these are showbirds that just didn't make the cut. These are all the cull birds that didn't make the shows well. And so they're not the best examples. So what we're going to do is cull all the big ones, and the ones that are really small, we're going to allow them to grow out a little longer. Now we could use them as like a Cornish rooster. You can very much do that. A little, almost like you would a Cornish game hen. So that is also an option for the smaller hens. They are much easier to clean, I will say that much. But my aunt is going to come over tomorrow, and the deal is that she's going to help me go ahead and clean all these birds and learn with me. And I'm going to give her half of the meat for their household. And also, they were looking for a place to garden since they moved back to Texas from Tennessee. And I am really looking for some help in the garden because it is a lot for me to handle right now. And I'm actually considering going back to work full time. So it's going to be a lot between homeschooling the kids, going to school, and working full time. I'm coming over here because I saw a stinging zip tie on the ground. I'm going to pick that up and not let the birds get it. It's probably from where the tarp came down. Oh gosh, this bird has lost so many feathers. So I think it also got attacked earlier. So I need to do something about that. Oh my gosh. What a freaking mess this has all turned out to be. And you can see what I mean by they're huddling together. That's why I'm kind of pushing them into the coop where I can have them for sure to be nice and warm for the night. It is really warm in there. So come on guys, let's go inside. They're not even freaked out by me anymore. When they were younger, they would all run away into the direction that I wanted them to go. Now they're just like, whatever, lady who feeds us. Come on guys. So this is what they should. Nice, active, healthy birds. Now, these birds, of course, being this active, they will not grow nearly as fast. They also burn off more feed, which is why a lot of people will encourage them to sit in front of the feeders. Which, honestly, feeding them more right before you tend to butcher them may not be the worst idea, to be honest. Okay, I only have a few of you left out, so can we please just go towards the pen? Come on. So if you're wondering, I'm just putting my foot out like this, and it's encouraging them. This little girl, she wants back out. So this one's drinking some water. Okay. Oh, you're an active little guy. So this is the one that was painted red earlier. Come on. They all want to go huddle in that corner, which I don't think makes any sense whatsoever. See this? I don't know what they're thinking. Okay, guys, come on. They can get warm by huddling together, but there's no need when there's a nice coop that has heating in it that's not too hot and not too cold. It's really right where it needs to be. So that's why I'm trying to encourage them to get that direction. Not having the best luck in the world, to be honest, because they know what it means to be cooped, and they don't want to be cooped right now. This is the part where I miss ducks because they're so easy to herd. And my mom and I have talked about it, and I think that we're really considering getting back into ducks. The only downside is when you have chickens that, come on, dude. When you have chickens and you have too many roosters, you can eat the roosters, right? They could be tough, but you can just eat the roosters. But when you have ducks, you can eat the drakes, but you're in a household like mine and nobody likes duck. It feels like a complete waste. Now, I'll eat it. I mean, and honestly, when I have to, there's not much I won't eat, except for the few things I'm allergic to. You'll probably never ever see me grow eggplant here because I'm highly allergic to eggplant. So is my son. I'm also allergic to mango, and I found out the hard way that we were allergic to those things by having allergic reaction. So that's really scary. We have several food allergies in this household. My son has a very serious iodine issue to both medical and shellfish, and even iodized salt. We don't buy it, anything. So yeah, that's a mess. So I kind of got everyone in here. And so we actually have several EpiPens. We have a whole thing of emergency meds because our daughter has her emergency epilepsy medication. And then we have, darn it, I got pretty much everyone in here. I'm starting to put this up to close in the coop for the night where I know that they're going to be semi-safe. And this little booger over here, hold on one second. So my phone goes into sleep mode every night so no one bothers me. And in the process of doing that, it actually turns everything gray. Okay, so there we go. I apologize for that weird interruption. So this guy keeps coming out. And so even when we got these guys, their wings turn out like that because they had too much protein too fast, which can be really common with both ducks, but especially showbirds, right? When people are showing them and they feed them a lot of food, they're just basically sitting around with food. So a lot of these birds' wings were already turned out when we got them. And once that, if it's not corrected early on, it becomes permanent, because what happens is their feathers feather out too quickly, and then it causes their bones to turn in their wings, and then the feathers continue to grow, and at that point it's permanent. Damage is done. So it's a bit of a mess. Okay, so this is up. I'm just going to put a brick in front of it. There's one here. Oh, darn. My battery's too low to use the flash. I didn't realize how much a flash could run down your camera battery. I guess I should have, but I don't feel like I use it enough. I'm a little nervous about snakes. I can't tell you how many of these I've lifted up to a snake being underneath. So I'm sorry you guys probably can't see much right now. Just see me moving everything, and that's just because I'm just trying to get it done, to be honest. So they are going to be nice and good for the night, thank God. I'm going to get a trash can. So this is how it fits in. See that? I'm going to get a trash can. You're seeing kind of the reflection off the light that's right here. I'm going to get a trash bag and bag up these chickens that we lost. That makes 8 more. I'm really frustrated. Jeez. I guess the chemical plants are flaring because this... Oh god. I inhaled an insect. Oh, gross. Lovely. The sky's lit up. And we're surrounded by industrial plants. Chemical manufacturing plants, essentially. Okay, so this is the chick coop. Everything looks fine. I haven't seen the cats again since I've been out here, but I'm worried that they'll come back the minute I go inside. I'm actually considering bringing the laptop out here and just sitting out there. So right here, this doorway, it actually used to be the door that's on the front of the coop, that we can separate them out, and there was a different door there, but we closed in the coop more. I think it actually, there wasn't a door or something, it was partially open. We ended up doubling this coop. It was only 4 feet wide. Now it is actually 8 foot wide, so it's 64 square foot coop. And so when we did that, I'm trying to do in my head if 64 is right. I don't know right now. Anyways, it's a pretty large coop, and so we did that. We doubled it in width, and that's why it's set up a little funny. But I think we seriously are gonna finish predator proofing. This right here is what I was talking about. These 2x3 squares. I'm afraid that stuff could squeeze through them. Sorry, I know I'm coughing and spitting. Definitely did not expect to inhale probably a mosquito or a moth. I'm definitely thinking mosquito. So now I'm going to go in here. I'm going to bag up these birds, but I kind of wanted to show what I was doing. I know it's a little messy because I'm actively moving and holding my phone, but it's just how it goes sometimes. So thank you guys for following us and our lives out here. I know it can get incredibly messy, and a lot of you enjoy the uplifting videos, but let's just be honest, life isn't always uplifting, and homesteading definitely has its pitfalls, and it sucks to see all these happy homestead images and pictures and everything going perfect all the time, and then you're struggling because trust me, a lot more of us are struggling and we're just faking it. So you guys have a good night. I'm gonna get these birds picked up and then my shoes rinsed off, and I'm gonna head right back in there and finish all of this work that I have to do for school.